Are Rolex watch prices finally about to crash? Many people in the watch industry believe that timepieces are an investment. Collectors of watches and individuals who have worked behind the scenes, on the other hand, insist they are not. Authorized dealers and watch collectors know that the current surge in demand for high-end watches, such as Patek Philippe, Rolex, and Audemars Piguet, will soon dwindle, and the secondary market for these watches will inevitably nosedive. We believe it will happen sooner rather than later. And here today we're going to answer this one question. Are Rolex watch prices finally about to crash? Hello everybody and welcome back to Above First Class. Today we will be talking about our favorite watch, which is the Rolex. But today will be a little different since this will be a little bit of market news. And before we break down the several causes that will trigger these changes, please make sure to click like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell if you haven't yet, so you won't miss out on the latest news updates about everything above first class. So to begin, big watch companies are cracking down on the black market. 2. Watchmakers are producing more watches than ever before, and they're doing their utmost to meet demand. Finally, the second-hand data indicates a market change. Let's start with how watchmakers are combating the black market. A system of second-hand watch traders is known as the gray market. It was a tiny group of vendors who bought and sold timepieces a decade ago. They would buy watches on trade-ins from the general public, and they would also buy groups of watches from authorized dealers, who had inventory that was hanging around and couldn't sell at retail pricing. The gray market, as you know, is a system of second-hand watch merchants where authentic products are sold through an unauthorized source. So how are watch brands responding to these gray dealers? The rise in dealer-controlled pricing made the watch companies sit up and take note. They've started doing measures to make it harder for these second-hand traders to get their stuff. One significant shift is the reduction of authorized dealers in favor of a boutique model. Audemars Piguet and Patek Philippe are both heavily invested in this model, and they're breaking up with jewelry businesses and just opening stores in densely populated regions. Now, Rolex has started doing the same. By acquiring watches on the secondary market and determining which approved dealers are allowing these watches to be sold to gray dealers for a large profit, watch companies are tracking their timepieces considerably better. Watchmakers have also engaged hidden shoppers to go through the process of purchasing timepieces. They are giving the shops grades based on how they handle the undercover shoppers. If you don't perform properly, they will send you less and fewer watches until the partnership is terminated. It may appear excessive, but if they do not take these steps, things may grow worse. Alright, so this time let's take a look at some of these Rolex pieces. The Rolex Submariner is without a doubt one of the most famous watches of all time. Many watch collectors, however, are concerned about its growing popularity, limited supply, and current market pricing. Those looking to purchase Rolex iconic diving watch of the year should expect to spend a lot of money, since market values have never been higher. As a result, you might be wondering if you can still justify adding the Rolex Submariner to your collection if you don't already have one. So let's discuss the reasons why you should take the plunge. The Rolex Submariner's iconic and timeless style has long been one of its strongest selling qualities. More than any other watchmaker, Rolex, more than other watchmakers, understands how to develop and modify classic models throughout time while maintaining their essence. So, what are the distinctions between a vintage Submariner and a current Submariner? When you compare 5-digit and 6-digit references, you'll notice some important differences. The scratch-resistant ceramic bezel on the older models, for example, is still constructed of aluminum. Furthermore, the antique bracelet and clasp fall short of the perfection found in contemporary variants. Finally, previous references technology does not match up to the current edition of this legendary diving watch, which is understandable. Despite this, the Rolex Submariner's distinctive basic design has stayed practically unchanged. Even in the most recent edition of this famed dive watch, the same timepiece that created history in 1954 and became world famous for its role in the first James Bond movie starring Sean Connery can be recognized. The Submariner, in our opinion, is a real style icon. It is a watch that goes with any dress, any event, and anyone. It will, without a doubt, be fashionable for another 50 years. Although there are more thrilling and technically advanced diving watches than the Rolex Submariner, none are as timeless and famous. It is a quality watch that will truly last a lifetime and can be passed on to generation after generation. No other luxury watch brand impresses me more than Rolex when it comes to haptics and overall watch feel. A Rolex timepiece's tactile sensation is genuinely exceptional and a sensory feast. This is true for all of Rolex's current watches, but notably the Submariner, which is known for its unique features. The innovative glide lock clasp is by far the best on the market, allowing the wearer to simply shorten or lengthen the bracelet by several centimeters. While most of us won't utilize the wetsuit extension function in our day-to-day activities, the glide lock fits perfectly and is a lot of fun to use. One can only characterize the clasp mechanism as flawless in terms of optics, haptics, and quality. The diving bezel, too, is the ultimate highlight of the Rolex Submariner. It might just be the greatest in the whole watch business. Every one of the 120 clicks has an extraordinary quality that you can feel and hear. No other diving bezel has the same level of precision and oral feedback. And let's face it, with the availability of smartphones that can show us the time down to the second, we don't really need watches anymore. And I think you would agree with this, sometimes wearing a fine watch is not about necessity anymore, but rather about feeling. Rolex, more than nearly any other brand, succeeds in harnessing these feelings via the rugged quality, flawless feel, and unrivaled wearing experience of all their watches. Objectively, there's no need to pay nearly double the retail price for a Rolex Submariner this year. There are few dive watches available nowadays that are not only more inexpensive but also of higher quality. If the Submariner is your dream watch, though, objectivity won't stop you from desiring one. As stated earlier, luxury timepieces are all about feelings. If you wait for prices to drop, you may find that they rise even higher, making your dream watch eternally out of reach. And also considering the forecast of the coronavirus Omicron infection, mainly the pandemic, the watch industry is still in its complicated status. Retail isn't going down, and resale probably won't either. Maybe the rate of increase will slow down, but I doubt a drop is coming anytime soon, especially with their scarcity scheme. With supply chain shortages and now on the ongoing pandemic disrupting watchmakers' production output and delivery schedules, it is safe to assume the global supply of high-end luxury watches at retail will remain low, with demand likely to continue its ascent skywards. As a result, we can confidently forecast that the price of watches will continue to rise this year, with few, if any, brands experiencing depreciation. Because retail availability is so limited, it's doubtful that brands or authorized dealers would provide discounts. As a result, watch prices in the secondary market are expected to exceed current values, especially since Rolex watches are made from the finest raw materials, with every component designed to meet high standards. Perhaps the only reason for a Rolex in a gray market, in that case, is that it has been heavily worn or broken down, or anything that puts it in a bad shape. Now, that may give it the possibility to decline in value, but honestly, it's impossible to envisage anything but rapid appreciation for investment-grade watches with established secondary markets, such as Rolex, and also other high-end watch brands such as Richard Mille, Audemars Piguet, Patek Philippe, and low-production independent brands. New market entrants' greatest chance is the price consolidation at present levels, although this is doubtful. So what can you say? Are Rolex watch prices finally about to crash? Comment down below your answers, and you may also suggest what crown news you want to see next. Thank you for staying with us. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. Again, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.